Good morning, guys. So today we're picking up where we left off. Let's remind ourselves of where we were at. Okay, so we have connected to the Twitter API, ugly fashion. We have made it pretty, separated everything out into classes, and now we're going to do two things. We're gonna, let's see, we're gonna add two fields to our data. So right now we're pulling back the ID of a tweet, the text, and the author, but we also want to pull out what date it was created at, the date and time, and how many likes did it get. Let me think. Actually, we're going to scrap the likes part. We don't need that. We're going to do something cool, something fun with emojis. So yeah, we'll see who is using the most emojis over time. So we'll make that new top emoji tweets database, and then we'll maybe we'll publish that to a website, and then we can schedule all of that with Airflow. We can make a job in Airflow that says, hey, this week, go grab the new tweets from Twitter, run the data transformation to figure out who's using the most emojis, and then publish that to a blog post. And we can automate that and make sure it's doing that just every week at the same time automatically. And so then we won't have to update it. So that's the cool part about Airflow. So first step will be to grab this extra. I'm just going to add tweet field. I believe it's called fields. And we're just going to grab the created at field as well. Okay, how are we going to do that? So let's get a reminder of where things are. We can use a tree command. And so we see, let's see, hold on. Get status. And just checking GitHub. So the last one we did was pretty printed. Git stash. So I think I'm on the wrong. So I'm just going to get back to the correct branch that we left off on. Okay, yeah, so we were on this. It's called pretty printed. So let's get back to that. Okay, git restore. So we can just throw away those changes we made. And we can just get to the correct branch. Pretty. Okay. And so now we're on the correct branch. Okay, so our game plan, we finished the object-oriented. So our game plan today is two things. Add tweet fields. We want to add the created at date. And then we want to schedule automation with Airflow. So add task and automate. Whoa. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. And potentially Docker, depending on time. We might come back and do that the next time. Okay, cool. All right, let's do it, you guys. CD source, see what's in here. Okay, so we got our auth, our credentials, our auth folder. We've got our 3 classes that we checked out. So let's take a look at those. Okay. So we've got save tweets.py. We got save tweets.py, and so what that's doing is, here's an example of running that. We call search. We give the tweets found in search to save tweets, and then it saves them to a database. And in this case, we're using Postgres and we're saving to the tweets database, or the tweets database. So if we want to switch to MySQL, we could just switch this connection string out. That's the cool thing about SQL Alchemy. Okay, and then this is tweet, so we're just defining what our tweet is here. And so this is what we have to change to add our created at value. What else? And Twitter search. So Twitter search, we're gonna have to change this as well to grab that extra created at field. Okay, so the first question is how do we change, what do we need to change in order to add created at? So let's start by doing some research. Come back to that. So Twitter API created at. Just gonna grab the first link. Okay. And then we want to check, okay, so this is version 1. So we're using version 2, so it could be completely different. So let's try and find the version 2 version of this data. Okay. So we're using the recent search API. So let's try looking there. Okay, so we're looking for created at. Okay, so we're not finding that. Looking for tweet fields. Tweet fields. Okay, cool. We follow this link to fields. So we want tweet fields. So if we were going to grab like count, we would ask for this public metrics object, but we were just looking for created at. Okay. Let's find some example requests. Okay, cool. Created at. Cool. Okay. Query parameters. Yeah, so tweet field is going to be a cool. All right. So it looks like what we're gonna do is like to whatever API that we call. Twitter, hey, Twitter API, give us tweet fields, tweet.fields equal to created at. And so that should add that field. So for example, so what does that mean we have to change? Okay. So in our URL, we're going to add like a we're going to add, like if we did self.url plus and tweet fields equals created at. It's just going to add, we already get these two pieces of data, and we have the author because that's what we start the search with. So it's going to add this created at. So if we do obj created at, and then this is going to be author. So the idea, we want to pull out, we don't want to hard code this author because we're going to try and do like a list of authors. We want to grab, hey, we have this list of 10 people. We want to grab all of their recent tweets. So we want to be able to switch the author rather than hard code it like this. So that's next on the list. Factor out hard coding author. It's going to be a to-do. We're going to do that. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's try and do the created at first. Okay. Looks like I've changed this up. Let's make this Hype Fury. This is a Twitter username. So it's going to grab. So if we call this query, it's going to grab the recent tweets from the Hype Fury account. Okay. Let's just test that this is working correctly. I guess we can just add this. We just add this to the end of our URL. Okay, so rather than renew my, okay. So use your, no need for you guys to change anything, but I'm going to change my credentials to some private credentials so I don't have to keep remaking them. So nothing different really. Just avoid me doing some extra work. Okay. So the goal here is we're going to call this search. It's going to give us the ID, the text, the created at date. It's going to create these tweet objects with all that data. So let's run this search and try and print out all these tweets, and hopefully we see this created at date. So let's save that. Let's try and run that Twitter search. Okay, we got an error. Oh, I misspelled it. Okay. Oh. So we've changed what a tweet is. So we need to update tweet.py as well. Right? We've added a created at date. So created at equals column string. Let's keep it simple for now. And copy that. Self dot created at equals created at string. Okay. We need to update how it's printed out as well. I think the fastest way is just to go created at equals, just copy how they're doing it. Normally I would just do an F string, but let's just go like this. Self dot created at. Okay. Okay. All right, let's see what happens. So we've added our created at field. We've fixed the URL. We've updated tweet. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, excuse me. Okay, it looks like it worked. Let's see. Uh-oh. Oh, it switched up author and created at. Alright, let's figure out how that happened. Oh, I know. Okay. So we just need to go like this. Yeah. So switch the places of Hype Fury and the created at field. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so yeah, cool. Look at that, guys. So we've added our created at field to our tweets. Okay. And you see all these emojis? So this is what we're going to be measuring. How many times are the people we follow, how many times are they using emojis? It baffles me, the emojis. You gotta use extra time. You could have just said, yeah. Maybe that makes me old school. Alright. So we also have to update saved tweets. Do we have to update it? Maybe we don't. Hold on. Okay, I do not think that we do. Alright, but we do need to clear out the database. Because the database, it has a bunch of data that does not have the created at date. So let's log into our tweets database and let's select star from tweets where author equals, let's see, Paul G. Let's limit it to one result just so we can see what it looks like. What? Oh, it looks like we already killed the database. So that's okay. So we don't need to clear this out. All right. So now let's try running save tweets. And let's see if we can get it to save with that new created at field. And we are going to run it with, who is it going to search? Okay, so it's going to search for Hype Fury. Right? Okay, because we have that hard-coded. So let's try and save Hype Fury's tweets. And then we'll try and pull out this author variable so that we can run through our list of authors. Alright. Save tweets. And we get an error. Relation tweets does not exist. So we need to get our code to, so remember we logged in there and we saw that there was no tweets database. So we need to, so for some reason our code is not creating, it's not creating the database. So SQL Alchemy, create database. So this is explicitly telling it. I'm wondering how, like, is there a way to just make it automatically do it? So there is a create database function. That's pretty cool. I'm always wary of adding a third-party library because I don't know if, like, is this abandoned? Like, when was the last commit? Oh, 2 days ago. So it looks like this has under active development. It's got 89 contributors, 124 issues. How many stars? 674. So not too many people are using this. That's interesting. shall we try using this? Yeah, let's try it. Let's see if it works. So let's try it. So if you're using Python 3, you're going to have to do pip 3. So that's the only change here. Let's see if this works. Pip 3. Okay, it looks like we already have that. Interesting. Okay. And so where do we want to do this logic? If the database does not exist, create the database. That's probably going to be in save tweets, right? Save tweets. So the question is, when do we want to check? When we start the database session or when we're saving the tweets? Let's probably do it like when we're starting the database session. There should probably be a database to save to when we're starting a session. Let's see. Okay, so this is the Stack Overflow code. Oh, sorry. Okay, so if not database exists, create database. Cool, perfect. We'll use that. So let's stick that up here. And we don't need that. Wait, hold on. What? Was that there before? Oh. Okay. I was like going crazy. I was like, what? What is this line? Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, let's put that up there. And we can perform this check here. We don't need that. Okay, cool. Let's see if that works. That'd be super simple. That's pretty nice, right? Hey, if the database doesn't exist, make the database. Let's try that. Let's save tweets. Did that work? No. Relation tweets does not exist, so it didn't work. What the heck? Huh. Let's try that again. Tweets does not exist. What the heck is going on, huh? So the database exists. I think the table does not exist. Let's just double check that. Yeah, so there's no table. So we don't need to, so the database is created, but now, okay, so we were looking at the wrong thing. So we don't need this. The database is created. Okay. Table does exist. SQL alchemy. Alchemy. What is variable table name? And what's the problem with Stack Overflow? SQL alchemy. Create table. Okay, so it looks like this create all function creates the tables. Okay. How do they do it in the tutorial? I think they use create all in a different way. Create all. Okay. Okay, so they do base, metadata, create all. What is base? Do we have base? Buffer, tweet. Base, okay. Base.metadata.create all. So it looks like this create all function will create the table. So where do we want to create the table? we want to create the table when we start the session. And we need that base object from the tweet. So from tweet, import tweet and base. Right, so we're going to import this base here. And then it's going to create the table here. But that could slow us down, like if on subsequent runs, like we're creating table, but it's already created. So is there any way to, let's see, create all, check first. That's exactly what we want. Maybe I've done that before. Let's see, table already exists. Looks like there's this check first. Check first. Check first. Yes, this is what we want. We want to only run that create table if it does not exist. Okay, boom. This is what we need. Okay, so we can just add this check first. Check first equals true. So that way we're not running it. We only run it the first time and not subsequent times. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so it looks like, so it failed at line 36. So if it failed at line 36, that means it already saved the data. It just had trouble printing it. So let's check and see what, let's see if the data made it into the database. So you can type sudo user postgres psql, and then we're entering the tweets database. Let's see. Okay, so there is a tweets database. Awesome. So let's see. We can select star from tweets. All right, you guys. And we've got this created at date. So perfect. So we've added the field we wanted. How cool is that, right? Look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This guy's got 5 emojis. It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. All right. Great job if you've made it this far. Okay. Okay, so we've saved. Let's go back to our plan. We have saved the created at field. We did this. Success. Now, add tweet field. We got to do one more thing. We have to add top emoji tweets database table. Right? So we're going to pull tweets for each week. We have a list of 5 authors. We want to pull all their tweets. We want to count how many emojis are in each tweets, and then we want to have one table with the top 10 tweets with the most emojis. So we got to make top emoji tweets. Top emoji tweets, and then we got to set up an airflow automation to make it run on a weekly basis. All right, you guys, let's do this. CD source. So just to get started, let's copy tweet to top emoji. Well, I guess so what are we doing, right? So we have this list of tweets, right? So we can see this. You can see this here. We have this list of tweets here. Sorry. We have this list of tweets here. So what do we want to do when we have these tweets? We want to go through them, count the number of emojis. Okay, so we're going to make a new table. It's going to have two fields. It's going to have an ID field, so we can identify which tweet it is. And it's going to have a number of emojis field. And so, for example, this one will be 1. Next one, 0. Next one, 0. Right? 0, 0, 1, 0, until we get down to the bottom. Oh, actually, oops. Sorry. So, does that make sense? So we've got two fields that we're going to create. It's going to be an ID field and a number of emojis field. So we'll create that table. We'll sort it by number of emojis, and we can return the top 10. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of what does a tweet look like? So this is how we define a table. So we need to do something similar for our emoji table. Are we going to call it let's just call it let's call it number of emojis. We're going to create a new table called number of emojis. Okay, so it's going to have an ID field. It's going to have a number emojis field. It's going to be a string. It's going to be an integer. Okay. Number. Okay. Just updating this. ID number what else do we need to update? Table name is number of emojis. So try and keep your table names all lowercase. Postgres, it kind of freaks out when you have like when you're mixing upper and lowercase. Okay, so let's call this number of emojis. Okay. Okay. So okay, so now it's starting to get confusing, right? We've got all these files together. So I'm going to create a directory. We're going to call it emojis. Emojis feature. Emojis table. Emojis table, right? Because we're creating a database table. Top emojis table. Top emoji tweets feature. I'm going to be super descriptive for now. We're going to move number of emojis inside there. So what's that look like? So now we can do all of our work inside here, and so it's going to be pretty clear like what these files are doing. Okay. We're not going to get carried away with this premature optimization though. Okay. CD top. Okay, Vim. Okay, we're gonna make this a little bit easier to spell. Move top emojis to top. Let's just call it top emojis. To me, that's pretty clear what that means. Top emojis. Okay, cool. Okay. So we've created. So let's remind ourselves what we have to do. So we created the tweets table. Which table is this? Yeah, this is the tweets table, right? And so we just have a list of all the tweets that we've pulled from the Twitter API. And so now we want to go into this table. We want to grab, and it's going to have the same number of rows. The first row is going to be the ID. The second row is going to be the number of emoji tweets. So we need to count the number of emoji tweets. Okay. So how do we count emoji tweets? Remove emojis, Python. So if we take a string, we calculate its length, say it's a length of 100, and then we remove all the emojis, we can tell how many emojis were in that string by the difference in string length. Okay. So this is, you got to be careful. If we went with the accepted answer, it only has 4 votes, but answer number 2 has 58 more votes. 58 votes, so many more votes. So we're going to go with answer 2. Okay. This is why I like creating this folder, so we can do all of our emoji work in here, and we're not gonna get confused. Like, where did we put all of our emoji work? Okay, so let's vim test emojis .py. Let's put this in here. Okay, let's try running it. Let's chmod +x test emojis. Do Python 3. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, cool. So we have a text with emojis, and then this is able to remove it. And so here's what I'm proposing we do. Okay, vim test emojis, def get number of emojis. Hey, what's going on there? It's going to take some text. Return len text minus len. Okay. Okay. This text there are that's not right. You know what would be happening? We might be running into a global state issue. So this text is named the same thing as text here. So what if we rename text 7 to 16, rename text to sample? Let's try that. So my question is, how long is the string before we remove emojis? How long is the string after we remove emojis? 10 and 10. That's very interesting. Wait, what? Okay, so now it's not removing the emojis? What's going on here? Something we've done has broken the remove emojis function. So let's restart. Let's see. Okay, let's throw. Oh, I see. Hold on. Sin in Spanish that means without sin emojis. Yeah, we weren't returning, we weren't creating a new variable here. Okay, let's see if this works. Oops. Nice. So this is correct. Is that correct? Okay, I think we got it this time. There we go. Alright, you guys. So this is how we're going to measure the number of emojis in a tweet. We're just going to roll it through this system, and we're going to count the difference between a tweet with emojis and a tweet without emojis. That's going to tell us, hey, this has one emoji in it. Okay, cool. You can leave this as a test in case we're wondering how this works. Okay. Then we can just do one less line. We just make this a little bit shorter, which will make it a little bit easier to debug in the future. Okay. So let's think. So we've got our tweets, right? So we need to create a table with ID and number of emojis. So for sure we need to create a class number of emojis, which represents this new table. Okay, let's do that. We need to create a class that represents the number, the table that we're going to create. Okay. And we just copied everything from, okay, so we did this. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to create calculate emojis. Pi. We're going to touch save number of emojis. Pi. So a little bit similar to what we did with the tweet, right? So we had a tweet that defined the table. We had Twitter search, which was grabbing the tweets, and we had a save. So we separated all these three functions. So here we're separating number of emojis that defines the table. Save number of emojis takes what it got from calculate emojis and saves it to the table. We're keeping everything separate the same way. Okay. Vim calculate emojis. Okay. Let's make this a class. Calculate emojis. Class. Self with def init. Self. Okay, so what are we going to want this to do? We're going to want this to get tweets. We're going to get tweets from the tweets database. And we're going to use this get number of emojis and remove emojis. We're going to use this here. Add that self. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have a self dot tweets equals get tweets. Okay. Okay, so we want to take our tweets and we want to create instances of number of emojis. So we need an ID and a number of emojis value. So how are we going to get number of emojis? For tweet and self.tweets. Wait, yeah, this works, I think. We're going to append. So we need to import this number of emojis from import number of emojis. We're going to create these objects. Okay. And so it takes a string and an integer. It takes tweet.id and get number of emojis from tweet.text. Okay. So we're gonna get a list of number of emoji instances, right? And we're creating this number of emojis instance. And we need to add ID string. Number emojis. Yeah, it's a number. Okay, save that. What else? Okay, let's test it. How do we test it? I'm gonna grab. Okay, so how do we get the tweets? We haven't done that part. We need to query the database. So SQL Alchemy query database.